Afternoon, everyone. How are you?
Very
Hello.
well. Hello.
Great to see all your smiling faces. For those of you that have cameras off, I invite you to turn them on if you'd like. If you are having a bad hair day, we don't mind, but we also understand if you don't want your cameras on. But we'd love to see your faces if you're comfortable. I'm just going to let some more people in from the waiting room here as we wait for 2 o'clock to arrive.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
While we're waiting, if you would like to use the chat feature, if you know how to do that, there's a little chat button at the bottom of your screen, and just add a little comment about what brought you to this OLLI introductory session today. Welcome to those who are just joining us. Thank you for being here. We're encouraging people to put on their cameras, turn on their cameras if you're comfortable, and also to add in the chat what brought you to this OLLI session today.
Curiosity.
I am going to mute people as they arrive just to eliminate any background noise, but if you want to comment, I want this to be an interactive session, so feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question. And you can also use the electronic hand at various times to raise your hand if you have questions also. Just continuing to let some people in from the waiting room. So I got several people who have said that they've been referred by a husband, a friend, a colleague, someone from their bike club. From the bike club, I bet you know Bob Myers would be my guess. Ricky, if that's the case, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's more than one bike club out there that I'm not aware of, but we're just asking people if you feel comfortable entering into the chat what brought you to this session today while we're waiting to get started and adding some people from the wait room.
Yes, about Bob Myers.
Ah, good. He's a great salesperson, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's a really nice man, and yeah, he's a big advocate of your program. So I think he sent it to all of us from the bike club. I'm not sure.
Fantastic. And just to clarify for people, this is not a Harley bike club. This is a cycling club.
Right. If I was last week we were on our bikes and he said, "Did you ever have a motorcycle? I mean, we're pedaling, it's 100 degrees. Did you ever have a motorcycle?" So in his past he did, but no, we are out there in the heat and the humidity, biking between 25 and some of us 100 miles. So
Wow, that's pretty impressive. If you can do that, you can do OLLI for sure, right?
Oh yeah. Just different muscles.
That's right. It's a good way to put it. So we have more people putting in the chat that they were referred by a friend, or that some people who just moved to Chicago. Welcome, Nico. We're glad that you're in the area. We're happy to see you. We've got some people who just saw some ads, which is great. So continue to feel, and Sarah's been working hard too. She's got a couple people here that have referred her. But feel free to continue to add in the chat maybe why you've joined us here today. We would love to have us be able to see that information, but for each of you to see some commonalities that you have among other members. I'm going to keep my eye on the wait room and continue to add people as we get going here. Also, for those that just joined, I just want to say again, we encourage you, if you're comfortable, to turn on your video, because we love to see the smiling faces. I have so many people here today. I can't see all of you at once. So I will ask that if you have a question, that you raise your electronic hand so that I can, you come to the top of my screen and I can be sure to see you and acknowledge you and answer your questions. So enough about housekeeping for now. Let me just welcome you. My name is Kari Fagin. I'm the director of the Northwestern OLLI program. And I love days like today because I can't wait to talk about OLLI. It's something I feel a little bit like Ricky's friend Bob Myers, where I tell everyone I meet, have you heard about the OLLI program? So I'm going to discuss with you today the following things: why lifelong learning is important, why OLLI specifically, the types of programs that we offer, what it means to be a discussion-based or peer-led environment, what we offer outside of the classroom, and then we're going to get into just some logistics about registration. So that's our agenda today. I think I'll cover nearly every question you may have, but if I don't, as I said, I want this to be an opportunity for you to raise your electronic hand and ask some questions. I do have with me today a current member, Carol Dietz, who is wearing her great OLLI cap, which is great advertisement for us as well. And so, Carol, if you want to chime in at any point and add anything, feel free. And if you see a hand raised that I don't see, I encourage you to stop me as well, if you don't mind. So let's talk about who knows about the Surgeon General's recent announcement about the latest epidemic. Anybody know what has been declared by the Surgeon General as the latest epidemic? Anyone?
Well, I'm just going to say dementia. I don't know. And then
Okay.
because I think you're going to link learning as one way to offset it. So is that a good guess?
It's a good guess, Ricky. Someone else, Jane.
I'm going to guess it's loneliness and isolation.
Loneliness. So, Ricky, I appreciate your guess. Jane is the winner of this contest. It is actually loneliness. I'm going to just briefly share my screen here and show you what we mean specifically. So yes, the Surgeon General has just declared loneliness as an epidemic. And specifically, he has said that it leads to this terrible list of things. Terrible list: heart disease, dementia, anxiety, stroke, depression, premature death. So Ricky was right that dementia is a component of this. This is an ugly, ugly list, right? One that we all want to avoid. But thankfully, you have found OLLI, which actually addresses all of these things. So at OLLI, you're going to find mental stimulation. You're going to find social connection and engagement. You're going to find meaning, enrichment, friendship. So all of these boxes or these circles replace what you saw from the prior slide. And we are really excited about what we have to offer in these ways. And when the Surgeon General came out with this recent news, we felt like we were really doing our part to help in combating loneliness. So we're not the only ones who know this, right? Studies show that when people are actively engaged mentally, they are more physically and emotionally healthy. That is not new news. There are lots of people that know that information. And as a result, there are lots of opportunities for lifelong learning in Chicago, across the country. And so you're wondering why OLLI Northwestern. And we're going to talk about two reasons that really distinguish us from other programs that you will experience that offer lifelong learning. Those two things are this discussion-based peer-led model that I'm going to talk in detail about, and our community. Those two things are closely tied together, and it really is what distinguishes us from other types of lifelong learning. So, what is OLLI? OLLI's been at Northwestern since 1987. We actually have representation on two campuses, our downtown location at Wiebold Hall and our Evanston location at 500 Davis Street. When you join the OLLI program, you join the program as a whole, not a specific campus, so you can participate in either location or virtually. We have just over 1,000 members. And when you see the OLLI, let me tell you what that acronym stands for. The O is for Osher, and then it's Lifelong Learning Institute. Osher is the name of a philanthropist from Maine. Bernard Osher is his name. He's 94 years old. Wait, I think he just had a birthday. He's 95 years old. And he is like the epitome of lifelong learning. Raise your hand if you play the piano. Few of you who play the piano, that's good, good. It's not easy, is it? So Mr. Osher taught himself how to play the piano at the age of 85, still until the last couple of years has been an avid skier. He just passionately believes in doing new and exciting things for his mind and body. And so he has put these lifelong learning programs in place across the country. There are 125 of them across the country, and each is hosted by an academic institution like Northwestern. And therefore, they're all unique in a little bit. They're all different in some ways, different pricing, different rules, different programming. Some are very lecture-based, some are travel-based, some are more how-to. We are one of only a couple that have this discussion-based peer-led model, which again, I promise you I'm going to get to here in a moment. But for all the 125 programs, the only requirement is that it's for adults age 50 and above without prerequisites, tests, or grades. It's just learning for the fun of it, right? Think about our high school and elementary school years where we were learning because we had to. This is the opposite. We're learning because we want to. So we are associated, as I said, with Northwestern University, consistently rated in the top 10 best universities. Don't let that intimidate you, because access is open to anyone, whether you're a university alumni or not. Raise your hand if you are alumni. Let's see some hands. Got some hands who are Wildcats. You'll notice I'm wearing my purple for my Wildcats today. So you become a Wildcat whether you are Northwestern alumni or not, and you have access to all the Northwestern University resources like the library and student discounts with certain levels of membership. And then we become connected to the other schools like communication and engineering because we have access to those incredible resources. So I'm going to share my screen again and just talk a little bit about some of the details of the program. First, the subject areas that you're going to find, they are very closely tied to Northwestern's topics and subject areas that you would find as a regular degree seeking student. So everything from contemporary issues, creative arts, literature, social sciences, history, medicine, technology, health. Carol is our person who is here as a member. She's very involved in the science related topics. But you're going to find just about anything that you would find at Northwestern, you're going to find it at the Northwestern OLLI program. We offer about 90 study groups in our long sessions. Those long sessions are in the fall, which we're about to enter now, and in the spring. Those last about 14 weeks. In the shorter sessions, which are winter and summer, and only 4 weeks in length, we offer a smaller number of study groups because oftentimes people will take a little break. They do some snowbirding or they do some travel in the summer. So we don't offer as many because people are more actively participating in the fall and the spring. Every study group meets for, excuse me, 2 hours each week. 2 hours each week. And sorry. There are 3 levels of membership. A basic membership gives you 1 study group per term. A standard gives you 2 study groups per term, and a prime gives you 3 study groups per term. We have people who buy prime memberships because they want to have the flexibility to take 3 if they want to. I'm really sorry, hold on. Sorry, I'm not sick. I don't know what's going on. So many people will register for the Prime membership because they want to have the flexibility to take 3. As I mentioned, we have locations in both Chicago and Weebolt, or Chicago at Weebolt Hall and Evanston at Davis Street. Hold on one second.
If Kari doesn't come back soon, I'm the entertainment.
I'm here. I'm having someone get me some water. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. So,
Allergies are high today, so.
yeah, the air quality is still not great, so I don't know what's going on. I'll share the dates here with you shortly, but that gives you just an idea of the logistics behind the program. Let me now talk about what it means to be a member-driven, discussion-based, kind of peer-led model. Okay, better. I mentioned before, this is our strength. This is what distinguishes us. It's the reason we keep our members. Let's all think back to grade school when we sat in a classroom, shoulder to shoulder, facing a teacher, professor, instructor who spoke at us. I think we have all passed that time in our lives where we want to be spoken at, where we want to just sit passively and let someone else educate us. We are not a shoulder to shoulder passive experience in any way. Picture us in a circle, all in dialogue together. We come together with very diverse backgrounds, careers, and experiences, and each member brings their unique experience, talents, careers, perspectives to the discussion, which creates this really rich and meaningful output. The study group coordinators are those people who come up with a particular topic, put a syllabus together, and then help feed the catalog. They might say to themselves, maybe Carol and Carol's new friend Jane come together and they say, we're both interested in topic X. And they put together a description of what topic X might look like. They put together source material, and then I publish that in the catalog. And then Lynn and Anne and Bill all say, well, topic X sounds really interesting to me as well. I will join that study group. And so now Carol and Jane and Bill and Lynn and Anne all come together to discuss this topic, and they each bring their unique backgrounds. And it's this really powerful output that happens. We call our study groups, not classes, because we want to give a very clear representation of active engagement. When I think class, I think I can sit back and be spoken to and be passive. When I think study group, it tells me I am a part of the experience and I am to be engaged. Because this is a highly discussion-based scenario, this class sizes are limited, usually in the range of 10 to 40, and average is about 25. And people really come to OLLI because they want to be exposed to these other opinions, because they want to hear the perspectives of others, because they want to help drive what it is we talk about together and really go to a deeper level of engagement and learning. So if you hear nothing else today, hear that OLLI is not a passive experience. So why do people join OLLI? Well, I get everything from, I just moved to the area, which I read in our chat that someone just did, or I've always been in education, so it's a natural fit. For some, it's I've done insufferable workplace training my entire life, and now I want to do something that I want to do. I hear my spouse kick me out of the house after a week of retirement, and I had to go do something, find something for myself. I hear I'm not yet retired, but I'm thinking about how I want to spend that next phase of my life, and I want to continue to learn, and I want to do it in areas that I'm interested in. I hear a lot of current members talk about how they are steering clear of whatever they did in their professional lives. So for example, I've got the retired judge who is interested in literature and French films. I've got the pediatrician who is passionate about the history of baseball. For all kinds of reasons, people are taking time to enjoy the things that they never had time to do prior in their careers and their lives. So whatever your reason, you are with individuals who share an interest in lifelong learning and a welcoming community that encourages full engagement. Which leads me to the other thing I mentioned that distinguishes us, and that's our community. So because we are not a place where you can sit passively and then when the lecture is over, you stand up and leave the room, we are in conversation with each other for at least 2 hours every week. We really get to know each other. So it's an opportunity for Donna and Larry to say, I really like what Larry had to say, or I really like what Donna had to say. Maybe we'll go out for coffee afterwards. This is an opportunity to get to know one another in a whole different way. So people really feel connected to the other people here and to their stories and to the perspectives that they bring to the conversation. I'm going to take a breath, stop there. I've got other things to cover, but let me ask if anyone has any question. Again, if you can raise your electronic hand so I can see you and it'll pop to the top of my screen. Questions about what we've discussed thus far? I have either bored you silly or I've covered all the things in such detail you have no questions. Let's hope it's the latter. Okay, I'll move on. You can feel free.
Kari?
Sure. Carol, you want to add something?
No, I was just going to ask if everybody knows where to do that. Under the participants bar on the bottom of your screen, then you'll see an array of hands, and you'll see a little yellow hand, and that's how you can raise your hand.
Excellent. Thank you, Carol.
Sure.
And I'm scrolling through my screens here just in case I'm getting someone waving at me instead. Again, if you're not on camera, we encourage seeing your smiling face if you're comfortable. It's one of those other reinforcements of a engaged kind of environment that we create here, but we totally respect if you don't have your camera on today. Okay, I'm going to continue offering some additional information. Feel free to stop me if you think of questions as we go forward. Beyond our study groups, we have lots of other opportunities that come with your membership for free. One of those is our noontime lectures and special events. We have community leaders, university experts in a particular field, other experts outside of our university even, that come and talk about specific topics. Those noontime lectures and special events are driven by our academic enrichment committee, which Carol's been a tremendous part of in the past, and our diversity, equity, and inclusion committee. And some of the many examples are, we had some a lecture on the Mars landing, jazz in Chicago, critical race theory, climate change, refugees, Modetown, police reform. Upcoming in this fall term, we've got an expert from Northwestern speaking about the latest cancer research. We've got Chris Jones coming to facilitate a discussion among many different directors in the performing arts world. We've got an expert on building a safer Chicago. So the topics are endless, and they all come to you for free as a part of your membership. We also have information sessions, orientations, trainings, social gatherings, holiday parties, and unless there is a direct ticket cost, then this is all free. So it's another way that we go about setting community, building enrichment opportunities, and really creating more for you beyond the study group experience. You will also have access to the library, Northwestern's library. There's only about 4 million books. So y'all better get busy is all I have to say, because there's a lot to cover there. But you do have access to the entire Northwestern library. And only now you can purchase a full year membership. So our academic year starts over in the fall, and anyone who purchases a full year membership will receive a Northwestern wild card. And what that is a student identification card that essentially says you're a Northwestern student. And so you can use it to take the shuttle from Evanston to Chicago or Chicago to Evanston, the intercampus shuttle. You can use it to check books out of the Northwestern library. You can use it to get discounts all over the city at every place from your gym to your dry cleaner to your coffee shop. I mean, there's an entire website dedicated to all the places you get discounts with your Northwestern wild card. And again, those are only distributed to full-time members who purchase here in the fall. So you are with us at a perfect time. If you choose to do a full year membership, it is a tremendous benefit and only available this one time of the year. All right, so I'm going to stop again, ask if there's any questions before I show you the OLLI website and give you a little bit of homework for the coming days to get you acclimated should this be something that you decide you're interested in. Kari, thank you for asking a question.
Hi, yeah, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, this was actually appropriate earlier, but I wasn't certain if you're going to cover it. I have now two questions. One, so these are study groups, I understand that, and it's sort of it sounds like it's self-generated socialization afterwards, but I'm wondering if you guys do anything to facilitate any sort of socialization after the study group, number one. Number two, do you get access to the gym? So
Great question. Okay, so first let's talk about socialization. There are a couple things that happened. First, there's some larger events that happen for all members. So for example, we do a kickoff meeting or a kickoff event in the fall. It's a welcome back to campus, and we do wine and cheese and just really get excited about all being back on campus together. We have one of those in Evanston. We have one in Chicago. We'll do holiday events that are similar to that. So it's those kinds of bigger events happen. In the past, we've gone to Ravinia together. That's one that would have a ticket price associated to it, but we organize those kinds of things. Or we might say, we're all going down to Grant Park for the free concerts. Look for the purple balloons and we're all going to meet together. So those big picture things happen. And then we also have study group focused engagement, where in a particular study group, they may say, bring your lunch. We're all going to do a brown bag together after our study group or before our study group, or we're all going to meet for happy hour, or let's all go out to lunch in celebration of our last session or our midterm session. So there's the OLLI global things that happen, and then there's study group specific socialization that happens for sure. And then with regard to the gym, we don't have access to the Northwestern student gym. So if you're going to like be pumping iron, that's probably not where you'll end up going. But good question, Kari. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes. So I've got, for some reason, your name is covered up. Your last name is Kendall. Tell me your first name.
It would be Lynn.
Lynn, thank you. For some reason, your name is covered up on my end. Lynn, how can I help you?
Well, would it be possible for us to peruse, especially study group offerings, to make sure that there's something there that really lights our fire and that fits in with our schedule as we know it to be?
Absolutely.
Before we actually register.
Yes. So every term we release the catalog at 1 week prior to registration. So you now have access to the fall catalog. And when we finish with questions, I'm going to show you specifically how to see that, where to go to find it. And you can look at the full catalog for the fall. We don't have the winter, spring, or summer catalogs yet. Those get released again 1 week prior to registration for each of those terms. But if you buy a full year membership, I feel strongly that you will find something that you like. This leads me, Lynn, thank you for asking the question, because this leads me to say that one of the most important things to remember about OLLI is that a particular topic is less important than the experience as a whole. So if you are coming in saying, this is the only study group I want, and I don't want to do any other study group, I would ask that you open your mind a little bit and think about other potential topics that you might not even know you want to explore yet, because it exposes you to different people, different perspectives, and different topics. Like I said, it's the retired pediatrician who loves the history of baseball. I say that because we have, as I said, about 1,000 members, and our study groups are designed to be kept small so that there is a high amount of discussion and everyone has opportunity to participate. So a study group of 25 or 30 people might fill very quickly if it's super popular. But I guarantee you, your second, third, or fourth choice is going to be something that you're going to be equally excited about. And we do sometimes recycle study groups, and something could be offered again in the future. So try not to get too fixated on a particular topic, and be open to lots of different topics. For some reason, I'm still getting the name being covered up. So who's my next person here? Is it Irma?
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay, good. I was filling in some blanks there.
My question was what you were just discussing. Can we, let's say we're interested in literature when we first start, and then maybe later on want to switch to contemporary issues. Is that possible? And is there like an additional charge for that, moving from one subject study group to another?
Yeah, it's a great question. So within a term, you would stick with whatever study groups you registered for. So if in the fall you said, I want to take X study group that is a literature focused study group on a certain book, let's say, for example, you would stay with that study group for the 14 weeks because you're creating that camaraderie with those people in that study group, and you're building your knowledge around that particular topic. In the next term, if you said, I'm not going to do literature next term, this term I want to be all about science. And again, you don't have to know anything about science, right? This is your opportunity to expand your horizons. I mean, Carol will say she's not a scientist, right? She did marketing in her past life. And so this is your chance to say, I want to explore science now. Great. And then maybe in the spring, you do something history related or other social sciences. So within a term, you stick with whatever study group you registered for, but beyond that, you can mix it up each term however you want. If, however, when you register for, let's say, your literature study group this fall, and in the first week, you're like, I'm not sure this is a good match, it's not what I thought it was going to be, you contact us in the office and we make a switch for you. So the drop add process is within the first 2 weeks of the fall and spring terms, and the first 1 week of those shorter terms of summer and winter, where you can make a switch if for some reason it's just not a good match. Okay, good. Again, Marion, you're on.
Hi. Can you hear me now? I'm having trouble on my hand.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Is there an expectation of eventually being a study group leader, or is it okay to be a participant all the time?
That's a great question, Marion. It is absolutely okay to be a participant through your entire OLLI career. If you say being a coordinator is just not my skill set, that's absolutely okay. Will we invite you to do that, absolutely, right? I mean, we need our coordinators in order to create our catalog and to facilitate these discussions. It's really an incredibly rewarding role, and there's lots of additional opportunities for community and recognition. And, I could go off on a tangent about how great it is to be a coordinator, but we will never make you do that. If it's something that you want to do, we have a tremendous training program that we put people through. We make sure that they've been a part of our process long enough that they know kind of who we are and how we operate. We pair our new coordinators with experienced coordinators before they're going out on their own. So there's a whole process of guiding people along that journey in a very warm and comfortable and safe way for them and everyone else. But it's also absolutely okay to just actively participate in the dialogue of your study group without actually being a coordinator.
That's great. And my other question was, what about attendance? During that 14-week period, let's say, and you're out of town, and because that's the way life is right now. How do you handle that?
So great question. I'm glad you asked that, because it's expected that you might miss a few study groups for travel or illness or some other conflict. We want you to have a commitment to this experience and have every intention to be there for the majority. But if you have to miss a few, I would much rather have you enroll and participate actively in the majority of the time that you're here than say, well, I can't do it because I might miss 2 study groups. Don't worry about that. Just notify your coordinator so that they can be aware that you're absent, but nobody's going to call your mom, Marion, I promise. And say, where was she today? So yeah,
Thank you.
Sure. Other questions from Marion before we go on? Okay, great. Donna.
Donna's muted.
Yeah, I think she's trying to find her unmute button, I think. There we go.
You hear me now?
Now I can, yes.
Okay. What about if there is not a lot of interest in a particular story? Do you have in a particular topic? Do you have a minimum number that would constitute a study group?
Yeah, boy, you guys, did someone queue you up for all the great questions? That's another great question. So every time a coordinator proposes a particular topic, we ask them for their maximum number of members that they would accept in order to maintain that high level of discussion that's critical to our program and defines who we are. But we also ask for a minimum number. So if they only get 6 people, is that enough for them to have a meaningful conversation? And some coordinators will say, I need a minimum of 12. I have a couple of coordinators who love those small groups. They love it when like 7 or 8 people participate in a study group, because it becomes this really unique kind of engagement, but they like running study groups like that. The average, I'm going to say, is around 12 as a minimum. And that accounts for some of those absences like we were asked about just a moment ago. But if for some reason we don't get enough interest that meets that coordinator's minimum, we would cancel that study group and be in contact with those people who did register and help assist them in getting into another study group of choice.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Donna. John, you're on mute.
So can you go into specifics about how a virtual study group situation runs, operates? Because, we live at quite a distance from Evanston and certainly Chicago. And so virtual is a very appealing alternative, but how does that all work?
Sure. It actually works very similarly to our in-person experiences. We are about 70% in person because we find that the greatest level of engagement does happen in person, because you get those water cooler kind of discussions and back and forth to the ladies' room or whatever. You can be talking to people and engaging in different ways than you can virtually. However, through the pandemic, when we were 100% virtual, we figured out how to make virtual pretty special also. So we would come together just like we have in this environment. And the coordinator would set some boundaries for how the study group is going to run, provide the syllabus, the source material, and you would have some preparation you would have to do prior to each study group, whether it's reading a certain number of chapters in a book, or looking at a certain number of podcasts, or watching a certain number of expert videos. And then there would be a list of discussion questions that someone from the group would lead. And then everybody participates in that discussion just through our hand raising that we've done here, so that it's orderly and people have opportunity to build off of other people's comments. So yeah, it would be very similar to what happens in the in-person experience.
So each session is about 2 hours, and it's on a weekly basis.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. And we would get a syllabus. How would we just go online and get the syllabus of the various virtual study groups that are available?
Yeah, we actually have a site that coordinators can post all the materials. They also have a Zoom link that you just click from this site. So everything's all contained in one place. And it's super easy to access. So it's a place where you get discussion questions, syllabus, your Zoom link, everything you need for your study group.
Okay. And when will that be published?
The site, or
No, the actual offerings.
so they are available now. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, when we're done with questions, I'm going to share my screen and show you exactly how to get to them. Okay, thank you, John. Carol, you have your hand up? You're on mute, Carol. Carol, you're on mute. Nothing? Let me try again. You getting a message where I'm asking you to unmute?
There it is. I got it now.
Okay.
I was just gonna go, the key just wasn't responding, so. But just back to Larry's question, I think he was asking about when he would see the syllabus, and they are not posted yet. They get posted after you register for a class, and then the coordinator of that class will send you, before the first class, complete syllabus, instructions, whatever. And I think, Kari, you were more or less responding to the catalog. Okay.
That's correct. Thank you for that
I'm
clarification.
going back to mute land right now.
Excellent. So I'm looking at the chat and trying to make sure I've answered all the questions from the chat also. I was asked how many OLLI members we currently have, and that's just over 1,000 currently. I think we answered Irma's question. Let's talk about, someone asked, so none of these study groups are taught by professors, but rather through a study group discussion. That's correct. We do not have a professor who is speaking at us. And this is one of those things you almost have to see it to understand the magic. You'll be amazed at the community of people that everything from nurses to artists to musicians to doctors to lawyers to stay-at-home parents you name it, they're part of this community, and they bring all of that expertise. It's so much better than a professor speaking at you, because you are learning together with a piece of source material. So it's not there is an anchor to the discussion, far different than a professor imparting knowledge. Someone asked to be a little more specific about what the coordinator does. The coordinator is the person who first thinks, I really am interested in this topic. For example, we have a coordinator who's like, let's talk about artificial intelligence, right? This is a big topic as of late. I'm interested in this. I want to know more about this. I'm going to pick my co-coordinator, who's Bill, and Bill and I are going to put together some source material, a syllabus of how we're going to tackle this topic. And then we propose that as a study group offering. I put it in the catalog and others sign up for it. And then my job and Bill's job is to make sure that people are following the syllabus and that the discussion is rich and on target and engaging, and that we together are learning. Okay, I think I have answered all the questions in the chat and all the hands that have been raised. Let me just show you how to get to your the information that you need to take next steps. So give me one moment to share my screen here. And Carol's going to be embarrassed because she hates that her picture is still on the front page of the website here, but sorry, Carol. This is the OLLI website. You can get here simply by typing OLLI Northwestern University. It's one of the first things that comes up in your search. But I'm also going to put it in the chat so that everybody has it. One second here. Okay. So if you can feel free to copy that link. But again, like I said, if you just type OLLI Northwestern, it's the first thing that will show up in your search bar. If you go to the tab that says News, one of the first things here is click to subscribe. I would encourage you to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. This will ensure that you get all the information that's pertinent to OLLI, including when catalogs are released, when to register, how to register, all of our special events. This is the starting place for you. In addition, you can go to registration and you will see the catalog for this fall right here. So click here to view the fall catalog. And you'll notice that I'll just scroll through here a little bit, but in general, here's the membership options. Here's kind of an outline of what study groups we're offering. Here's the full descriptions of what we're offering. And here's some of the extra events that we are coming up this fall. So I'll emphasize key dates here. This is kind of important. So you can purchase your membership now. It's available when the catalog gets released. You can purchase your membership. I encourage you to do that for a couple reasons. One is that as a new member, one time with your first term, we will, if we get your purchase by Thursday morning, we will reach out to you and assist you with registration and help you with your first choice selections. That won't happen in future terms, but in your first term, that's something that we offer, that additional service, but we'll need to get your information by Thursday morning in order to do that. If we don't get it by then you'll register yourselves on Monday morning, the 7th at 9 a.m. And when I say 9 a.m., that's really when the action happens, because many people will get on right at 9. And as I mentioned, some of those popular study groups will fill quickly. The registration is, however, open until the 21st, and there will still be spots available in many study groups through the 21st. They just may not be the most popular ones, and that's okay, because again, it's about the experience, not a particular topic. And then the fall session begins the 5th and goes through December 11th. So continuing through the catalog, these are the different levels of membership. So I mentioned Prime is 3 study groups per term for a total of 12. Standard is 2 study groups per term for a total of 8. Basic is 1 study group per term for a total of 4. This is the cost for each of those. And you'll notice I put under there $3 a classroom hour. You can't buy coffee for that. $4 for a classroom hour, $6 per classroom hour. Because it is a 14-week session, 2 hours a week, every week, for each of our terms, 14, 4, 14, 4, it is a tremendous value. Sometimes you're going to see maybe a lesser cost, but it's for a 3-session lecture or a 6-session lecture. This membership gets you all of these study groups 2 hours a week, all through the academic year, plus those other things that I mentioned, like if you buy the full year, you get the Northwestern wild card, access to the library, all those additional noontime lectures and events that I mentioned before. If you're unsure and you just want to do a half year, that's an option as well. It does not get you the wild card, but a half year is an option as well. And that would be 3 per term for fall and winter, or 2 per term for fall and winter, or 1 per term for fall and winter if you did standard or basic. The last option is a trial membership, only available to first-time members, where you can get 1 study group in the fall and 1 study group in the winter for this amount. It does not cover you for the wild card and those other benefits that I mentioned. And then if you decide you like it and you want to apply for your membership in the spring, you can do it that way. And then the first time to get a wild card would be a year from now, next fall. So however you want to do it, we give you lots of options, so you have lots of different choices. The winter term, just to give you a heads up, is all virtual because we live in Chicago. We have enough people who do snowbirds. We have enough cold and flu and COVID season and ice and snow that winter is just a virtual term. It's only 4 weeks. And again, a lot of people don't even participate because they are doing other things in the winter or the summer. But just so you know, every other term offers both in person on both campuses and virtual. Winter's virtual only. So these are the areas that I mentioned to you, the topic areas that we offer. And here I'll just scroll slowly. So here in Chicago, Monday mornings, Monday afternoons, all of our study groups start at 9:45 in the morning or 1:15 in the afternoon, with a few exceptions. And we offer Monday through Friday, but very few on Fridays, mostly Monday through Thursday. This gives you just a general idea of the kinds of things that are offered. I'm going to scroll slowly. You'll see things like the New Yorker. These are the kinds of things that are repeat study groups. They're offered every term, really highly discussion based upon the articles of the New Yorker each term. Same thing is true for something like The Economist, Washington Week. These are contemporary issues study groups that are offered each time, but others are different and unique each term. That's Chicago. Then we have a whole list of offerings in Evanston. I don't want to take too much of your time here because I know you can all go out and look at this on your own. And then we have a group of virtual offerings. And then under this at a glance, you will see the full description of, I'm getting there, the full description of each study group. So in Mondays, this was one of the study groups offered on Monday mornings, and it gives a description of what's going to be covered, what the source material is, the kinds of things that will be discussed. And it lists whether a study group is new or a repeat study group. Okay. So let's go back. That again, just to refamiliarize yourself, go to news and make sure that you are clicking to subscribe to our email so that you get notification when catalogs are released and how to register. Go to registration to see the catalog. Here is where you will purchase your membership. This link takes you to another database that's specific for our members where you register for your study groups. Again, you won't have to do that this first time. If we get your information before Thursday, we'll help you with that. But I will show you what this looks like just so you're familiar with it. It looks like this. And here you can see the study groups again by day if you wanted to, or by subject matter. But you'll just need to create a profile in here. And then remember your username and password so that you can log back into this space and register or for study groups or events in the future. Okay, I've given you a lot of information. It's like school, right? When you've learning a whole bunch of new things. Tell me what you're still confused about, what questions you have, anything that I can answer for you that helps build the excitement for what's ahead for you.
Okay. All right. So some of them, excuse me, some of the classes are virtual only. You said the ones in the winter, those 4-week classes, and then some are offered virtually or live. Are they offered virtually and live?
Great question. So we, in the fall, spring, and summer, study groups are offered either 100% in person or 100% virtually. So a particular topic will either be a virtual study group or it will be in person in Evanston, in person in Chicago. We don't do what's called a hybrid approach, in which some people are, for the same study group, some people are in the room and some people are online. We find that that is a barrier to good discussion.
I would agree. Yeah. Okay.
So
So like if I'm going away, if I'm going to be away for some months, then I just join a virtual one. I get it.
Correct. If you're going to be away for extended period of time, I would suggest virtual. But if you're going to be away for a couple weeks, I would definitely do in person if you're able, because again, we're not calling your mom, and as long as you're engaged when
you have
you're
a hard
here.
time. Good luck if you could reach her. That would be good. I would say that. So, but so if it's 14 sessions, if you miss 3 of them, that's okay.
Yeah.
Missing 7, it doesn't make sense because you lose the continuity of the whole thing. Okay.
Exactly. And not only is that not good for you, it's not good for the other participants
No,
because they
no,
want
that's
to
what I'm
know
saying.
you. Yeah.
The bonding won't happen. Sure.
Exactly. And perhaps
I know I'm a retired social worker. I know about the group bonding piece. Thank you.
Fantastic. And the other thing is that perhaps there's a wait list, and Donna's number 1 on the wait list. And if you can't be there fully engaged the whole time and Donna can, that's another thing that we consider in the process. So.
One more thing, I remember years ago hearing about these, but then I heard it was hard to get in. And so it's the same thing. So if it's hard to get in, so why are you doing this? So you're looking for more people, and yet it's hard to get in. So you're not, there's no lack of an audience for these things.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Ricky. When you hear it's hard to get in, what you're hearing is, I've referenced a couple of times, those very popular study groups. And so we might have 5 study groups that fill instantly. I mean, instantly, because they're so popular. And if you do the math, right, if 1,000 people, the majority of them get on at 9 o'clock, and there's only spot for 25 people in each of those 5 that are super popular, they're going to fill, right? So if that person who said that only has their mind on a study group, they're going to be frustrated. But if they have their mind towards learning and engagement and multiple topics and social connection in different ways, that one study group that's most popular that fills so quickly, it won't matter, right? Because there are a ton of other open study groups.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense. Thanks so much.
Sure. Carol.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you're a snowbird, you may not want to sign up for a 14-week. You may want to grab one of those 7 weeks. And so a lot of snowbirds do that. I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a certain amount that do. And so they're going to be around here till around December. So they hop into the first 7-week class, and then they go away. The downside of that is sometimes it's really fun when you're away, sitting in your condo in Arizona. I'm so jealous that you can still, if it's a virtual class, you don't have to not participate. You can participate virtually. So in that case, I would pick a virtual one.
Thank you, Carol. Lynn.
Could you mention the scholarships, please?
Yes, so we have a limited number of scholarships that are primarily partial, meaning a 50% discount. There is a scholarship form, and if you are interested in that, just email olli@northwestern.edu. I will get that personally, and it's a confidential process between me and the scholarship applicant. And we don't ask for like bank statements, but we do ask for enough information that allows us to understand what someone's need is. We're all retired, and so we're all on a fixed income, but our fixed incomes are different. And so if there is a true financial need, then we do have a limited number of scholarships to accommodate that. Other questions? Anne? You're on mute, Anne. We'll give Anne another minute here. Just take your time, Anne. If others have a question, well, I'll answer one that's coming. Oh, there you
Okay.
are.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, here I am. Thank you. You mentioned also that there's an inter-campus shuttle from Evanston to downtown and vice versa. How long is that ride between campuses?
It depends on what other construction they're doing on Lakeshore Drive.
Oh, yeah, we know that. Okay.
I don't know. I've never actually taken it, but I'm gonna say half hour, 40 minutes ish, depending on whether you get on it, at what point you get on it in Evanston, because it stops in several places in Evanston, but its destination in Chicago is right in front of our building. I mean, like
Okay.
right in front of our building. So it's pretty easy once you get to, past all the stops in Evanston, or vice versa, if you go the other direction too.
All right. Thank you. I'm new to the area, so I'm just trying to figure out all this stuff. Thank you.
Good. Well, welcome. I still feel like I'm new. I've been here 3 years, so you and I can figure it out together. How's that?
Okay. Thank you.
Speaking of transportation, Donna asked about parking protocols. So if you take public transportation, which is very easy to both of our buildings, that's easy peasy. But if you choose to drive there at the Evanston location, we have parking inside our building, and we offer tickets that discounts the parking from what would normally be charged. And I think it's like maybe $6 or $8, something like that. Then if you go to Chicago, as some of you may know, Chicago parking is nuts, and they want to charge you like $56. We have a deal with the parking garages in and around our community. And it's a $9 parking fee. We just validate your ticket, and it reduces the cost to $9, which is even less than you would get if you had an appointment at Northwestern Medicine. I was asked, does the basic membership include a wild card? Yes, all levels, basic, standard, and prime, include the wild card if you buy a full year. That's the issue, is buying the full year. I see several 7-week study groups with basic membership. Does the one count as your only study group for the term? Great question. If a second 7-week study group is available, you can take a second 7-week, and it counts towards one benefit. But that's based on availability for sure. Okay, other questions? Good discussion, really good discussion. And we're right at 3 o'clock. I am happy to stay on longer if you have further questions. Let me close by just saying a couple things. Remember, this is not a passive experience, but boy, is there tremendous reward in that. Tremendous reward in that. And if you're looking to prove that loneliness can't touch you, like the Surgeon General says, this is the place to combat it. If you're looking to be intellectually challenged, if you're intellectually curious and you want to be a part of a community of other intellectually curious people who care about you, this is the place for you. So your action items are to sign up for the newsletter to peruse the catalog and buy your membership should you choose to be a part of us this coming year. And then if you do that, we'll be in touch with you about registration, assuming that happens, that we get that information from you before Thursday morning. And if you do it after Thursday morning, just be prepared to register on Monday at 9 a.m. And then once you're part of things, just read your emails. We'll send you a bunch of information to get you started in a healthy way, and then start putting yourself out there to engage. The more you learn, the more relationships you're going to build, and the healthier you will be physically and emotionally as well. So thank you for spending the time with me. Enjoy the rest of your day. And again, if you need to stay on, I'll hang on if you have questions.
Thank you for your information. I just want to say, I think you're really good at your job.
Oh, thank you, Ricky. That's really sweet.
I will
Thank
let
you.
Bob know that I was on this. I told him I would attend. This is very important.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.